Today we're going to do a primitive paint finish using all DIY products and a lot of wax. Sometimes you pick up a piece like this and you think to yourself, oh man, I'm gonna have to sand all that down. This thing is so damaged. That's what I'm gonna have to do to make it smooth and good. But wait, what if we just go with it? What if we roll with the piece and use the damage to our benefit? Absolutely not a fan of that Chippendale hardware, so let's get that off. Although the top and the front of this have extensive wear, the sides are still in pretty good shape. So I'm going to take some 80 grit sandpaper and just real quick rough it up some more. Anywhere that it looked like was not quite damaged enough, I went ahead and sanded it lightly with that 80 grit just to give it a little more tooth in the areas that I wanted. And I cleaned my piece with TSP. A couple years ago, I was scrolling through Facebook. I was in one of those painters groups, and the subject came up of waxing. Somebody said, I don't like to wax my furniture because if I need to repaint it, I have to take all that wax off. I have to strip it. And I thought to myself, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take DIY. We have here the black wax. I have the dark wax, which is brown. And I'm gonna go ahead and start applying it. It's gonna soak in here. I applied both waxes, the dark and the black, by DIY. I went ahead and did it in sections. Why do you have to take it all off? I don't understand. I paint over wax all the time. If it doesn't sell, I repaint it. It works out fine. So I asked them, why? And they said, you just have to. Wax has to be on top all the time. So I have a small panic attack. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this wrong. What's gonna happen? So I'm gonna take a little bit of Bohemian Blue. My wax is still wet, remember that. Just put it on, still wet. And we're gonna cut in here. So a little bit on these panels. And now I'm going to go into Little Black Dress. I start to think about it. Nothing's happening. My pieces are fine. My paint hasn't fallen off. It hasn't crackled. The paint adheres. I don't get it. Really important to apply your paint to your piece while your wax is still wet. Now that you have your wax on and then you apply your paint on, you want to rub it back before that paint has time to dry thoroughly. I ask another paint group. They give me the same answer. Never. Don't do it. It's taboo. No, don't. For this particular look, I'm not using a lot of paint on my brush and I'm wiping it back immediately after. going back and forth, using a little bit of a dabbing motion, trying to expose that natural wood underneath there, but still keep the paint on. Hindsight tells me that bohemian blue was actually not necessary at all. I ended up covering it all up with little black dress. But, we live and learn, right? I asked my friends, do you ever paint over wax? Yeah, we do. But Melanie, just leave it alone. Don't talk about it. It's taboo subject. Just do what you're gonna do, but don't, you don't need to talk about it. I'm like, okay, I won't. I'm moving panel by panel with my paint and rubbing it back right away. That way it doesn't dry up on me. Just recently, Dion from the Turquoise Iris painted over wax. She did it on purpose and she put it out there. And I thought, finally, you know what? If Dion's gonna tell people, then I don't have to hide anymore. Yes, you can paint over wax. As we apply the wax, it will very much adhere to those really dry, damaged areas. And the areas where the finish was still on the piece, it's not going to adhere so well. So what we're doing is we're using our wax as a resist. I was really excited to do the top because it had the most damage. Really curious on how it was going to come out. But what it really comes down to is if you're not comfortable doing it, then don't do it. Do what's comfortable for you. Using the DIY blending brush and applying it in a cross-hatch kind of a fashion really gave me the look on this top that I was looking for. And dabbing that paint off first and then going ahead and wiping it. We just don't want streaks. You want it to look kind of like crusty, old, good, primitive. Once I did my first coat, I went back with just wax and decided to darken it up in some areas. By applying wax to the paint that's already on there, I'm getting it to darken up. Make sure you tell me in the comments below if you like primitive furniture and what you think of this finish. And tell me if you've been sneaking around putting wax on and then painting over it. And one more time with just plain black, I'm going to darken it up in some areas. Now the wax is adhering and sticking to wherever I had paint. Once it's dry completely, go ahead and get a soft lint-free rag and start buffing. It's amazing how beautiful this just shines up and gives you just a really cool finish. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. You guys are awesome. Don't forget, only you can make it happen. To shop for DIY paint, look in the comments below.